In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a traditional master sourdough. So this recipe is going to make 2 regular sized bowls. You are going to start by adding 2½ cups of filtered water to your bowl. You will then add 1½ cups of your active leaven. If it floats on the top, that is a good sign that it is ready to make your dough. Mix it together. This is my favorite tool for mixing my dough. I will link it below. Then add your flour. You can add about 5 1/4 cup organic all-purpose flour is what I use. Mix it together as best as you can with the tool, but you will probably have to use your hands toward the end to fully incorporate all of the flour that may be sticking to the sides of the bowl. You will then cover your bowl and let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes before adding in the salt. You will then add 1 tablespoon of a high quality salt. I just use a sea salt that I buy from Costco. Lightly wet your hands and mix the salt in as best as you can by poking into the dough and kind of twisting your wrist to fully incorporate the salt into the dough. Once the salt is mixed in really well, you will then take your hands around the edge of the bowl and pull up on each side, and you're going to stretch the dough out and fold it over. This process of stretching and folding helps to let in oxygen, which is important for the process of fermentation, and it also will help to strengthen the dough. So do this on 4 sides as if your dough is like a box or a square. After this first round of stretching and folding, you will then cover your dough again and let it sit on the counter for about 1 hour. This is called the bulk ferment. Once that hour is up, I will do a short series of stretching and folding. You will notice each time that your dough is getting more and more strong, and it's a little bit harder to stretch with each stretch and fold. I do about 3 more of these stretch and folds every 30 minutes before then placing my bowl into the fridge and letting it cold ferment overnight. As you can see, I just take my hand around the sides of the bowl and grab the dough and pull it up, stretching it out as far as I can, and then folding it over and kind of tucking it into a ball shape. So after that series of stretching and folding, which should take about an hour, hour and a half, you can then place your dough in the fridge for 6 to 12 hours to cold ferment. The following morning, I will then remove the bowl from the fridge and let it sit on the counter for about 30 to 60 minutes. The dough should not be cold or firm for these next steps. This next step is the process of laminating and shaping the dough. So you will shape the dough into either one of 2 shapes, a bowl or a battered. A bowl is a round loaf and a battered is in the shape of more like an oval. So this is laminating here, where I am stretching it out thinly on the counter, being careful not to let it rip or tear. Then I will fold it and build tension in the dough by pushing and pulling it on the counter, and this is what creates tension in the loaf. What you see here is me pinching the sides of the dough to just kind of close it, and then I work it into a nice round ball. I then place my bowls in a banneton or a proofing basket that I have sprinkled with flour along the bottom. If you don't have one of these baskets specifically designed for bread making, you can totally use a regular bowl and a tea towel and sprinkle flour on the bottom of that. I then like to place them back in the fridge, covered of course, for at least a few more hours before taking them out and getting ready to score them. After flipping your dough out onto parchment paper, you will then take a little bit more flour, lightly cover your dough with it, and grab a sharp razor blade to score a design. The purpose of this is so that your bread can open up and expand. If you don't do this, it will likely burst open in the oven and have a big crack in it. It definitely won't affect the taste of your bread, but of course it is super enjoyable to score your bread and see these perfectly little slices in your dough and for it to turn out into a beautiful design. Adding some deeper cuts along the bottom of your bowl can also help to keep that design and prevent certain slits that you have made from bursting open in the bread as well. I set my oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have had my Dutch oven already warming in the oven. I do 25 minutes with the lid on the Dutch oven, and then the remaining 25 minutes with the lid off, and I bump the oven down to 450 once I take the lid off. Now I sell my loaves locally and at the farmer's market, so I have a little stamp that says my logo, which is Our Daily Bread Co. I will then put the loaf of bread into the bread bag and put a couple stickers on it to seal it and deliver it to whoever ordered it. This specific bowl was for Valentine's Day, hence the adorable heart design. Now, of course, the bread is best to eat fresh, but it will last on your counter in an airtight container for about 5 days or so. Anyways, thanks for watching and best of luck baking.